City Council, City of Alpine will hold a special emergency meeting at 4 p.m. on Friday, March the 20th, 2020, in the council chambers at 803 West Holland in the city of Alpine, Texas, for the purpose of considering the attached agenda. The notice is posted pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551.043, Texas Government Code. The meeting will be available on Zoom in accordance with the governor's actions to allow meeting participation using online and voice communication protocols. Zoom invited credentials are available with our city secretary. And I'll call this meeting to order. City Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Mayor, we do have a quorum. Councilor Escobedo is on her way in, and the notice was posted at 10:30 this morning on March 20th, 2020.
Okay. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Today, using the Zoom conference tool, we know right now we have 36 additional participants online, which is fantastic. Megan Antrim, our Director of Finance, is controlling the audios from her office. We are maintaining the 10 and under protocol here in council chambers. Any sort of public comments, if somebody does queue up outside, Chief will let them in at an appropriate time, Mayor, that you deem. Ms. Antrim has also posted the public comments that have been coming in on the chat section of the Zoom conference. The Zoom conference is being fully recorded. Afterwards, we will repost that to the city website for anybody to review any content of the meeting.
Okay.
And so we're all on the camera on this one machine. And so you're ready to go.
Yes, sir. Thank you all, Council, for being here on short notice. But the City Manager and I talked about it yesterday, and we felt it was imperative that we react as soon as possible. This is a serious crisis. We need to address it. We need to inform our residents and what actions they need to take. And I know it's putting a burden on your business, sis, and whatnot. But like I was trying to explain to some, the sooner we all come on board on it and slow this virus down, we're not going to get rid of it, but the actions we're taking, but we can slow it down, and hopefully they can reopen again and continue. Now, we're gonna start going into a new normalcy now. We're no longer operating on the old normal that we used to have for years and years. Now it's something that's totally changed the whole world. And so we need to conform to it also and react appropriately. So with that said, I will turn it over to you, City Manager.
Honorable Mayor, City Council. So part of the emergency meeting, we did post online a draft ordinance with input to be contemplated by council this afternoon. The ordinance more specifically really looks at hotels, motels, and short-term rentals in the community. We do know the governor placed an order yesterday that goes into effect at midnight tonight. That order will close restaurants except for carry out. We'll close bars, gyms, as well as the directive around gatherings less than 10 people only. With that being said, Commissioners Court met yesterday, contemplated whether doing similar action to what Presidio County had done with closing their hotels, motels, short-term rentals. And they determined not to make that decision, though we know they're gathering again today at 4, same time as us, and they may with this being contemplated as well. And so without getting too much further into it, I know we have to have a motion to entertain the ordinance, and then we could go into further discussion at that point.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would propose that council take action to approve ordinance 2020-03-06, an emergency ordinance instituting emergency measures due to the public health emergency of the city of Alpine. The specifics of that ordinance are delineated in the handouts we have, but for all those who are listening online, is that the city authorized the emergency management director or designee to update, restrict, and or promulgate regulations necessary to comply with the federal, state, local authority guidance in relationship to COVID-19. Number two, that unless required by state law, all city boards and commission meetings are suspended while this ordinance is in effect. And second, that any boards and commissions that must meet pursuant to state law should meet pursuant to the means allowed by the Texas Attorney General Institute best practices with regard to social distancing. Third, hotels, motels, and short-term rentals and all short-term rental activities and businesses are hereby ordered to cease operation as of 12 noon on March 22nd until 12 noon on April 6th, 2020. Hotels, motels, and short-term rentals can be utilized only for customers that are active military, law enforcement, and National Reserve, and emergency services personnel to support the city, county, state, Saguaro State University, and school district operations and healthcare professionals during this time. Fourth is that there'll be penalties effective associated with this ordinance that can mount up to $500 and it'd be a misdemeanor, and that the regulations shall have affected the ordinance when duly filed with the city secretary. Number five, this emergency ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its adoption and publication and is accordingly so ordained, will remain in effect for 30 days unless reenacted in accordance with the city charter section 3.1 or after state of disaster is terminated, whichever is sooner. Six, there are some severability clauses associated with it. Thank you to our city attorney, Rod Potton. But that is the fullness of the ordinance. And again, I thought it worthwhile, given we have no one sitting in the audience other than out on the video, and thanks for everyone participating. I thought it worthwhile to go through the details.
Thank you very much, sir. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Now we can open up some discussion. City Council. Anybody in City Council?
I think the only comments I would have, here you go, if you want a copy. I think the only comments I would have is, I know there's a number of people that were aware of this. They'd seen the draft copy, and I've heard everyone supportive, and no one's been against it.
Very good. You know, we've had one or two in the business sector that are concerned, and, you know, we understand that. Because, you know, they're losing the monies and their employees are also going unemployed without a paycheck. But this is necessary for the entire health of both the city and the county. So we do need to take appropriate action. The sooner everybody comes on board, the better we can resolve this issue, and hopefully they can reopen on their normal schedules and timeframes. But to me, it's highly important that we take care of our residents here. And on this note, I want to thank the city manager. He got the prices lowered in Alpine, Texas. And so gasoline. And great job. I drove around today and there was like a 40% drop in prices, which is fantastic. I know it's going to help those that are going to be out of work. So that'll kind of give them a little breathing room. And city manager and I have been meeting since Tuesday morning on this issue. We formulated a game plan with the hospital, Sul Ross, the county, the EMC, and we all put in 5 ideas, which went on the air the next day, which was fantastic to keep our city in touch as to that the city is reacting in a positive manner to this issue. It's a very critical, well, not critical, I say it's a serious, very serious issue because lives are at stake. And if everyone does their part, I think we can get through this, and life will not be the same as it used to be, but at least we can continue on and we'll persevere at the end. Anybody else?
I agree. I'm ready to do this.
Mayor?
Ramon, sir.
Okay, yeah, if you go through,
Yeah,
I'll
go
make,
around.
yeah.
Someone, any comments?
No, in general, I think a lot of the people here in Alpine are in general familiar with the executive order by the the governor of the state of Texas. And, but there are some people out there that, well, maybe a little skeptical as to what it really is. I've had a couple of calls, one that regarding why the shutdown, why there's martial law. And of course, it's not martial law. It's just that steps are being taken to curb and prevent the spread of the virus. And then the other people question, well, we're lucky that we don't have the virus here in town, but yet on the other hand, we say, well, there are rumors going about that maybe there are cases, but they haven't been revealed. They haven't been reported. A couple that came up were apparently the idea that a border patrol person might have been infected. We don't know about this. And then somebody in jail might also have been infected. But whether it's true or not, I don't know. But if it is, I don't know what action should be taken as well. Should we let the public know? But hopefully this ordinance, once in place, will help to educate people about the importance of this pandemic, and it's real, and we've got to move forward by taking the necessary precautions, and if someone out there is, of course, in need of help, we should do our best to help them. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. You know, when you said about martial law, that's not true. The governor is invoking special powers during this crisis, but he's also giving the cities the leeway to also enact theirs. Okay. Now, he said, as long as everybody's cooperating, doing what they have to do, I don't have to enforce any draconian laws, which he is totally against. So with that said, I think that might clear up the individual that was saying about martial law. Ready?
I don't have anything.
Can you just elaborate more on number 3, please? Where it has to do with healthcare professionals?
So it's all about if there have to be some healthcare professionals come in from outside the city, they don't have a place to live, the hotels can be utilized to house them while they're here. That was the intent.
Okay.
And right now we're housing the National Guard, which is on here.
Yeah.
And they've also offered their services, whatever they can do to help us. They're more than willing and able to help us.
Yeah, so it's to give the hotels the flexibility. What we don't want to do is have the hotel say, healthcare professionals are not on there, therefore we cannot admit them. So
Right.
putting them on was over an abundance of caution to make sure they can allow them to stay.
Give us a net leeway. Okay, any questions?
I know that I did actually call Dr. Effica and I did report what I needed to report. Thanks, Cynthia, pushing me to do that. I did report it to the higher ups at work and they never responded till this day. Only because the person did travel out of the state. So I'm kind of wary about that and not so at ease with it.
And I think, City Manager, you might correct us. If they travel to states where the virus is known to have occurred, that's when they have to self-report themselves to their PA to make sure that they did contract it or not. It's not an easy fix because they go to the doctor says yay or nay, and if he says yay, it's got to go still through the hospital district, and they will run a test, a simple little test. It's not for the virus, but for other issues that they're looking at, and if they determine that yes, this person is a potential, then it's sent on to El Paso, Midland, or to a private contractor. So it's not going to be an easy process, and we don't have enough kits for everybody. I wish we did, but we're way behind on that curve. Korea did have kits for everyone. They tested and they've taken care of their issue. They've been very proactive on it. And China, the same thing. Have they had a break lately?
China's trended way down in their new cases.
Yeah. So,
They said that 2 days in a row they haven't had any new cases.
And, you know, and folks can go on the website also, CDC, the Hopkins Institute, also John Hopkins Institute also has where they're tracking states and they're also tracking how many new cases we have in all the countries throughout the world. And you can go to the Brewster County news, Permian Basin News, the Basin News, which it's an app on your phone, and there they break it down by county as to how many have it. You know, yesterday we had one at, it was in Crane, and he worked at Midland at the college, university there. And then right after that, then Midland popped up with one in the afternoon. So it's around us. So we have to take these extra precautions. Everyone has to be cautious, especially for our elderly.
And just real quick, Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, the hospital district is a totally different entity than Big Bend Regional Medical Center.
Okay, yeah,
So
thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Mayor, I think Councilman Escobedo sort of touched on an important point, and is travel. I know that there is no restrictions regarding travel in and out of Alpine, but in a sort of a general conversation with one resident, in conversation it came up that what about the airport? I know we have almost daily flights coming in of people with produce to dispense throughout the city, and is that a potential possibility for the spread of the virus? And second, there are residents in Alpine who travel in and out
Yeah, I'm one
to
of them.
other states.
Yeah.
To other
In
states.
fact, I had a son that went to China. And when I come back, I will quarantine myself in the house for 14 days.
So
That's just the process.
if I can interrupt just for a quick moment. So like, he knows to quarantine himself.
Mhm.
What happens like in a situation at my work and they know, but they didn't do it and aren't doing it?
That's the issue.
That's the problem that I'm having.
Mhm.
Or like, I know that some of our caseworkers are still going into, they're traveling and going into other people's houses. I'm not understanding if my work in particular thinks that they don't abide by whatever rules, or they making up their own rules or what.
No, they have to abide by this also, even though they're healthcare providers, they do have to abide by this. Okay.
But that's
Yes,
not
sir.
what our ordinance says.
Yeah, but
Our
the
ordinance-
governors,
Yeah, by the governors, yes.
yeah, and I need to clarify that's what the governor says, okay? They have to report it. And if not, there's gonna be penalties, you know, that be incurred, you know, if they don't do that. But you gotta be real careful also in that aspect. You know, if you write a written letter to your supervisors, tell them you have concerns. And it's up to them to take the appropriate action. Okay.
And I did. I sent an email and I still have not received a response.
Okay, well, you need to do a follow-up email on that, please. Okay, and just document it to cover yourself. Yes, sir. Any more? Mr. Stevens, Councilman Stevens.
No, I think everyone's talked about the concern, the issue. I think our healthcare providers really pointed out something really important to us. Given this is expectations is there'll be cases and how long it will go is, but I think limiting the number of people that use our hotels is really important, because if we do have an issue here, there is not enough capacity at our hospital to take care of our residents. And in my view, that's the number one priority. Take care of the citizens of Alpine. Tourists will come back when this works its way through, but in the meantime, we got to protect that limited resource we have. And my concern is when we medevac people out, they either go to El Paso, they go to Abilene, they go up to Midland, Odessa. And if they run into a crunch issue, we may not be without additional resources. So that's in my view, this is a no-brainer in my view about protecting what we have here. Because we may not have other resources.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I agree with you, even though I hear that, well, we're isolated, you know, we're going to be pretty much immune to it. No, we're not.
If it's a crane, it's going to be here.
Yeah, if it's in Crane, not only that, we have visitors, we have 18-wheelers coming through here, you got Amtrak coming through here.
Yep.
And those are sources of the virus also.
Yep.
So we need to recognize that. As far as the airport, I think we need to put maybe a notice or something out there saying, you know, if you travel to these areas, please identify yourself with the hospital.
Yeah, we'll repurpose that back onto the blog and onto the website,
That'd be good.
Okay, thank you.
on the news and notices.
Any more comments?
I did interrupt. Council Rodriguez.
Okay. Any more comments? Oh, yeah.
So, Mayor, I shared with everybody Dr. Escobar's letter earlier today. She lives in Councilwoman Curry's ward, and had shared a letter with her and the judge and her council person or commissioner yesterday. And in speaking to Dr. Escobar this morning, she asked that I also share it with the entire council, knowing that you were having the emergency meeting today. She is the lead in the task force of the medical community here, the subject matter expert for the area. And I think her thoughts need to be well respected and well thought through. And I know all of you have done that. The other thing that she encouraged us to think about from a data perspective is that, many of these folks, if they're traveling here and they're visiting here, if they get sick, we don't know any underlying conditions that they may have. And that makes it very tough for a physician to deal with them. And if you look at our hospital serves the Tri-County area, we're 23,000 residents. If 0.1% of the people become seriously impacted by this, that's 23 people. And that takes that hospital to its knees. And so then to Councilor Stevens' comments about would Midland, Odessa, would El Paso, would Abilene, would Lubbock be willing to take a transport? If they're on their knees, their answer would be no. The reality of it too is Mark Scudder passed away last year. Mike's wife, Tracy, is in significant not financial, but health issues right now. And we just have to be aware of that. I mean, and we're very remote. I did hear late this afternoon from the lawyer from the Texas Health or Texas Hospitality and Lodging Association. They're dealing in somewhat of a proactive sense, calling different cities and counties. At first, he was urging not to pass something of this. And then we started talking more and more about the real rural nature of where we're at and in the uniqueness. We certainly celebrate that out here, but in times of needed medical, it becomes a hindrance for us. And so we just have to protect against that. From a comment perspective, that's all I would add. We do have 37 different chats up there. We also have, Megan, the ability to allow people one by one to take them off mute. So if we're ready to do that, Megan, if I don't know if you want me to pop up the chat section. There we go. And then Megan, if people could note to you and anybody that's listening, if you could note to Megan, if you'd like to make a comment, she will then take you off mute and allow you to make a comment to our council.
Is that one closer for you, Councilor Rodriguez? Or is it the same?
Let's see.
Somebody wants to speak, if she lights up.
I don't know what the red is.
There we go.
Okay, so she just said to everybody, please let me know if you'd like to speak.
So she's sending chats back and forth.
We're probably healthy for us to give a little bit on this, just
Yep.
as we're working through the technical
So,
side.
there we go. Someone's looking outside.
I think she's outside.
She's already posted some.
She has. One new message. I would like to make a comment. Tracy Catley.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tracy Catley. I actually am a neighbor of Dr. Escobar, and I work at the hospital. I want to thank you all for taking the time and taking this issue seriously. We are making a lot of preparations at the hospital. I know many of you have been working with Rick And really, this is a very dangerous time for all of us. And I know you all are aware of that. And I do appreciate the fact that we're taking action upon this. I think that it is a really good idea that we use our hotels and our B&Bs and short terms for those that are coming into the community. I hadn't even thought about that, but closing it down to tourism is as potentially devastating as that can be to our community. I think that it is the absolute right thing to do for all of us to keep us safe. I've seen a lot of things happening in the community, the actions taken by porters to allow our elderly community an opportunity to go in and service themselves, separating themselves from danger from the rest of us that potentially could be carrying it. And yes, I agree. As we see these instances coming down from Lubbock, El Paso, Crane, Midland, it is only a matter of time that we are going to get this statistically. So thank you all very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you
Tracy.
very much, sir.
Oh, she's got Tracy on mute now. And let's see, we'll give everybody a little bit more if anybody else wants to make comments. The nice thing with Megan putting it in this group chat, all the comments that came in earlier today, you scroll up, Council, you'll see top to bottom.
We can't read them because my eyesight's not that
Okay.
good.
Yeah, It's just,
There's lots.
There's a new message. He's got to ask one more thing.
There we go. So the other thing that I wanted to comment on, I know this is not part of what we're discussing here, but in terms of houses of worship, I'm not seeing what we're doing anything there in terms of trying to shut down the closeness, the connectivity that's going on with those. I know that my own church has made some decisions to provide services online rather than in person, and I think that is a good thing to do, but it's also something I think we really should consider as a community.
Yes, sir. The governor will probably.
I believe the governor's proclamation
Right.
closed those.
Yeah.
So that's been addressed. It will be addressed this evening.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Let's see. Sam Acosta's unmuted. Okay, Mr. Acosta? Let's see, we can't hear him.
They need to know they need a mic.
Yeah, you may have to. No, I'm sorry, we can't hear anything. Wonder if you're able to type anything in. We could read that. Oh, yes, I am. Here he is. Okay. From Catherine. Oh, here's a question for upcoming today reservations. Are we going to have to turn them back if this passes?
The ordinance started on March 22nd.
Sunday, March 22nd. So if somebody was coming in town today and tomorrow, I think, it's giving people 48 hours to react to this. So here's Mr. Acosta. I wanted to applaud you folks for looking out for our community. I do own a motel and I have long-term residents that are living here. What is your suggestion to keeping them here?
Mm.
Those are rent.
Yeah.
Those are like, that's a completely different thing. They're not like an overnight stay or whatever.
Yeah, some are permanent residents.
Yeah.
Well, so do we need to add, I think the point he's raising, do we need to add the language in there that authorizes hotels to allow their residents to stay?
Or anybody staying longer than 30 days? Do you want to put a number on that or?
Those
Do you
folks
wanna-
are there permanently.
Permanently. It's like their
Per-
house.
yeah,
They're,
okay.
they're
It's like an apartment.
like a lease, or they do a lease like for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the right language is, but given the ordinance only lasts 30 days,
Right.
to allow those who are quote unquote residents, not visitors, but residents, then they're allowed to stay.
I,
Yeah, because I mean, it's no different than.
yeah, if you're living there, if that's your house,
Yeah.
the idea is not to vacate somebody from their home.
Not at all.
Where you live.
Okay.
So with that, I would propose amending the motion that's been made to add on to section 3A that those individuals who use the hotel, motel, or short-term rental as their permanent residence may stay.
I'll second that.
Okay?
Okay, motion's been amended. And there's a second on it. Any, so we entertain questions. None? Okay, so
And then we have a few more. ARATI. I don't want to butcher that name. He says, so we have to cancel all existing reservations for Monday except for government officials.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, and actually Sunday night. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, we answered Mr. Acosta's question. If you do close the hotels, please let us know. We are not allowed, what we are and not allowed to do. For instance, I'm assuming we can still do repairs and have employees work on site if needed to maintain it.
Of course.
Yes.
keep your employees employed.
Yeah, so
Yes.
one of the things when this gets passed is we need to get it out as quickly as possible to
Yes.
people so they understand how to operate.
Yes.
Just with the addition to number 3, section A, we can work on that this evening and we can get it posted.
Yep.
If it passes tonight.
Yes. Yep. Posted and distributed.
So, yeah, I think we answered Chris Ruggia's question, perhaps already staying long-term. We do not want new long-term quarantines, correct? That's correct, because it stated permanent residents.
That's right.
Mhm.
What about the delivery trucks that come into town? That would be the same as the person doing repairs and employees on site. And ultimately, the administration of that is between chief and myself. I mean, we're going to talk to the hoteliers, partner with Chris on that. Like chief last night was making rounds with some of the local watering holes, talking about, the governor's executive order this upcoming weekend. So we'll continue to take that action.
Question about railroad workers.
Yeah, Amtrak engineers, they're staying at the motel.
And Union Pacific just stays 24 hours.
Eric, is there a possibility of, it seems like there's some very interesting points that are coming up in the chat section. If that can be downloaded, maybe emailed to us at some time for.
It's being
There will be.
recorded.
So I think the real question at hand is the railroad or Amtrak engineers.
You know, my reaction to that is, if we were to allow that, they would have to self-isolate. We don't know where they've been.
Yeah.
Especially the ones coming out of El Paso.
Yeah,
Those
you know,
cases
coming out of El
already
Paso or San
Yeah.
Antonio or wherever they're running from, we have no idea. And it's no different than Ramon raised, you know, in terms of those of us who travel a lot and come back, you know, it's self-isolate. You know, if someone's been here 24 hours, they need to isolate.
Yeah, you can't be wandering off.
I mean, it's the whole issue we have as to why we're taking this action. We have a risk for someone coming into our community. We don't know where they've been, and it's not, we're trying to create an issue, we're trying to protect the community. So,
And what's it normally get on their vehicle and they take them over to the motel and restaurant on-prem and everything. They need to kind of isolate themselves in that sector.
well, so see, my view, it's, and I hate to say this, it's almost not just their sector, it's in their hotel
In the
room.
hotel room.
They still gotta have somebody come clean up afterwards too, that doesn't
Yeah.
have the proper,
The equipment, thank you,
yeah, and
yeah,
the gloves, and they don't have this, they don't have the stuff to protect themselves either.
yeah.
Another thing is when they leave the hotel, they stop at Stripes or at Subway or
Oh,
McDonald's to pick
wow.
up dinner to get on the train before they leave.
That's the whole issue we're trying to protect against.
It's protecting the community and not to go from A straight to B.
Yeah, so just, I'll share a personal story. So I have a grandson who lives in China. He's married and they live in Hong Kong. My oldest son went to visit his son and daughter-in-law. He was in Hong Kong and he came back. He was, and immediately went directly, his wife picked him up at the airport, took him directly to where they live in their condo. And for 2 weeks, he was isolated in their bedroom, could not come out. She delivered him meals, she delivered everything, and that was it for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, he came out clean. There weren't any issues. He came out of self-isolation yesterday morning. That's,
And so perhaps the Pennies could just deliver the meals to the door where they wouldn't have to come out.
yeah, but the challenge Maria's raising is, they're only here for 24 hours. Now they leave. Okay, we have no idea if after they've left, within the next the next 13 days, something came up and what the potential contamination risk is and how the hotels are going to clean all that stuff out. And do they have the equipment and all that to go work it? I don't know what the answer is. I really don't.
Well, it's just like anybody else that's traveling. They wouldn't be able to leave if they came.
But you've got to have the train where you can't interfere with the commerce. And the governor said grocery stores, the police department,
Yeah.
vital groups.
And the thing is that if your regular board for the engineers and conductors, if for some reason it's already used up or they're not rested and can't use them to go out, they go into an extra board and pull them off different areas. And the extra board rotates every 12 hours. And they're coming out of Juan, New Mexico, from San Antonio, all the way into Louisiana. So you've got lots of people coming in from all different areas.
And really, I think our National Guard has been here for a period of time. I mean, that's really the one piece that was written in the ordinance on the contemplation. That's the primary folks, and they've been here. There's a couple hundred of them. The chief pulled together some stats today for us. Quarter seven circle has 47. We talked to Parash. He's got 20 of them that have been at his place, at their places for 6-9 months, if not longer. So they're really somewhat permanent residents.
Won't have to really worry about it because this is the second wave of them also. So they'll be here for another year.
But we've not solved the railroad issue.
Yeah, it didn't solve the railroad issue, no, it didn't. I mean, that's something we really need to contemplate and how we're gonna attack that.
Having the National Guard personnel in the area, I think, is an asset.
Yeah.
But what is going to be, or will be their role? Is it based on, I guess, the need and demands of the city police department? If something comes up and we need their support, then you ask them and they come forward and assist, or
Ramon, most people don't even know the National Guard's here. They're on a different mission, not related to the city.
Yeah, not related.
Completely unrelated.
All there are here is for support, and I was in contact with Captain Audrey.
Yeah.
The commander and Sergeant Bolanos. And so whatever capacity we need them, they'll be more than happy to assist us. Yes.
They've been here for a long time.
but it has to come from
No.
a petition from.
No, it comes from us.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
us.
if we want them, otherwise they're doing their mission and they are on their mission.
So we set the parameters and the rule.
So that's why we're allowing them to stay in the hotels. Otherwise they get a pitch tent.
But we're gonna have to really think about the railroad.
Yep. Yeah, so probably my recommendation is, Eric, you may want to reach out to the railroad and figure out what their strategy is, because you can't be the only city who's run into this issue, and they've got to have some protocols.
Right.
And I think we'll have to see that's addressed at tonight's conference call.
Yes.
That'd be a great question.
I'll ask Ivan Jaime, and
Yep.
I know we do have a special meeting scheduled for next Wednesday. We could readdress at that point. I mean, the way this ordinance is structured is that you all can revisit it on any other meeting, so.
Yep.
And then the county's having theirs Monday, I think at 10 o'clock. I don't know. if you got-
Well, no, they're having commissioners court
Oh,
right
today?
now.
They're meeting
Okay,
today.
so
Yeah, they're at
the
same time we are.
last thing I got was.
You and Chief and myself will meet with Ronnie and the judge and ECTA and Rick Flores
Okay,
Monday.
so then I guess that meeting has been canceled. The judge didn't notify me of it, or Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So any other comments then?
Let's see, it says, well, one of the questions was, how do you really know if they're government officials? And then again, it's fair to assume that coronavirus is already circulating amongst us. It's not about us versus outsiders. The issue is merely slow the spread and retain our limited resources, medical, food, et cetera, for our residents.
Good comment.
And the way the ordinance is structured, I mean, it's incumbent upon Chief and myself to administrate to the ordinance.
Of course.
And so we will communicate with the hoteliers, and we'll certainly update council on Wednesday with feedback. I mean, I'm sending out multiple emails to everybody in the blog every day. So it won't be Wednesday. It'll be by Monday, I'm sure.
I appreciate that. Keeping us informed.
Well, should we call for the question?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. What happens like with places like Dollar and Family, Borders, where there's more than 10 people in a place?
Well, I think that's where, Chief, any idea on that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was like, the dollar stores where you have more than 10 people in there. How, or
You
is
know,
that?
listening to the meeting, and that's one thing I'm gonna be going to the dollar store, the general dollar, also Borders, and making them aware that it is the only 10 people at a time in the store, up to 10,
To
no
10.
more. So, if we need to assist them in monitoring that, hopefully I have the manpower to assist. Hopefully they will have enough employees to do that on their own.
Yeah, and if not, then we can utilize the guard
Correct.
to help us.
That would be a big,
And
Yeah,
one
but-
thing, I hope that you'll remind them to have sanitizers at every checkout counter.
yes, I know sanitizer's kind of hard to come by
I know
these
it,
days.
or
and
wipes
I would
or
hope
what-
that, You know, and I would also maybe recommend gloves.
Gloves, right, that's the other one.
For the citizens, if they're gonna go to the dollar, one of the stores, maybe have their own gloves.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was exception made on grocery and banking.
That's what I thought there was.
The grocery and the banking. So there can be more than 10 people. I mean, they can't run a grocery store with less than 10. I mean, so the issue at that point is around the spacing of people and not congregating in a group of 20. It's similar to our parks. That's what I try to share in the blog yesterday. You know, the parks were an area that the governor noted to go out, you know, your city, your local parks. And what we're looking at there is like Coconut Park is a real vast area of land. You might have, you have to keep your groups less than 10. So what we said is like, if you're going to do a baseball practice, you can't do a baseball practice because your team is already going to have 10 people or 12 people out there.
Your substitutes.
But if you had a few people out there throwing the ball with each other, that's fine and spread out. And the same concept applies in the grocery store. And I think what other areas are really doing in the state is they're limiting the total volume in at the time. So porters may say, hey, we've got a big enough footprint. We're about 10,000 square foot here. Generally speaking, we could have 35 or 40 shoppers in here at a time and get adequate spacing because we've got 20 lane or 20 aisles. That's a couple people an aisle, and then do an in and out. We'll talk with Trey on that.
We'll talk, you know, you think about it, you could easily have 5 to 10 employees in the store working.
Oh, yeah.
You know, one thing that people might keep in mind is when you're grocery shopping, and if there's someone in that aisle, 1 or 2 people in that aisle, maybe skip that aisle and come back to
Exactly it.
common sense.
Just using common sense out there.
Yeah, this is really about helping people with a set of rules and common sense, so they apply it accordingly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions?
The question's been called for. And so we'll go ahead and vote on the motion as amended. And you will revise it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
considering we've completed our business for the day, I propose we adjourn.
Okay, is there a second on that? Okay, been made and seconded. Not debatable. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you all coming such a short notice.
Thank you.
It's critical for the city, for the well-being of the city. So,
Thanks for calling us together.